Let's talk about the E-2 Treaty Investor Visa and why it's one of my favorite visas out there, especially for business people and entrepreneurs who really want to do something really fun, fresh, and exciting in the United States to start or expand their business. And I really like this visa because it's for people who really want to start and run their business. And so let's talk about some of the requirements. So for the E-2 Treaty Investor Visa, you have to be part of a country where you have nationality, that there's an agreement between the United States and that country. So for example, countries like Colombia, Honduras, Spain, and countries in Asia like South Korea and the Philippines count towards these visas. And so that's something to think about and check if you qualify, because it's based on where you're from and what country. So that's something to be aware of. And then also try to check the other requirements, such as your investment requirements. So for the investment, you have to think about what kind of business you have and what type of investment does a business like yours typically require. So the investment requirement can be anything from 100,000, 150,000. It just depends on the kind of business you have. So let's say, for example, that you have a restaurant, and it also depends where you have your restaurant. So let's say you're like here in San Francisco, where I am at right now, and startup costs can be quite expensive. But if you want to do business in a different state, then that should be okay in terms of the minimum requirement for the investment. It could be significantly lower compared to a big metropolitan city like San Francisco or LA. So it'll just depend on where you have your business, and you do some sort of study to show that regularly these investment startup costs cost this much money, but then for your business it'll cost a certain amount of money for that kind of startup. And so that's what you want to prove. And then you also want to be able to trace your funds. So you have to show that your funds came from legitimate sources. And say, for example, you got payments from work. And so that's something to be aware of when you do your business. So from your bank statements, you want to prove that you got that payment from your bank, and also just show that you have the sufficient amount for that startup business. So those are things that we can help you with, because in order to do that, you also have to show bank statements, and then also about your business, you should have to show a business plan. So those are things that you should be aware of. If you have questions about the E-2, please contact us and we'll be happy to talk.